Welcome to the second lesson of the first unit. The lesson is entitled Roles Leaders Should Take. The objectives that have been set for this lesson are: identify the mindset a leader should use, identify ways of fostering psychological safety at work, promote curiosity and complexity at work, and finally, become a charismatic leader. We have already seen what daring leadership is, and we can definitely conclude that it takes a lot of courage and uncertainty, that is, vulnerability, to lead from the heart and not from hurt and fear. However, it is easier said than done. In Brené Brown's words, studying leadership is way easier than leading. Let's try to identify the mindset a good leader should use in order to motivate the employees to act. That is, what would be the concrete steps you would take in order to become an inspiring leader. Before starting, however, I'd like you to pause the video and take some time to put down your ideas to the following questions. Number one, what mindset should be encouraged at work? Should the leader and the employee have the same mindset? Number two, should a leader change their viewpoint once it has been taken? If yes, when and how often should it be changed? Should it concern the core belief as well? Number three, how should the leader behave, as a know-all or as somebody who is prone to doubt? Number four, what should the leader do to promote curiosity and create psychological safety for the employees? And finally, number five, what would make a leader be viewed as charismatic? We will try to answer all these questions. So we definitely expect a good leader to be mentally fit, or simply put, to be intelligent. But how would you define intelligence? Cambridge Dictionary defines it as the ability to learn, understand, and make judgments based on reason. Simply put, this is the ability to learn and think. Adam Grant, however, thinks that at present this definition should be changed. In his opinion, intelligence should be defined as the ability to rethink and learn. We all have acquired a certain background that allows us to make judgments. Once the belief has been formed, there is the tendency to constantly look for ways of reinforcing that belief. Consequently, it is rather difficult to change beliefs. However, the purpose of learning is not to affirm a belief, but to evolve that belief. This comes naturally, and most of us aren't even aware that they lack flexibility in their thinking, that they are unable to rethink their formed beliefs. It happens due to the tendency of the brain to save energy, whereas thinking, and particularly rethinking, requires a substantial amount of energy from our brain. In addition, challenging the old beliefs makes the world more unpredictable. So people prefer to stick to their deep-seated beliefs instead. This is known as cognitive laziness, which can result in mental stagnation. Moreover, people will be driven by their confirmation bias in order to reaffirm those beliefs. Another bias that can interfere with the rethinking process is the desirability bias. Simply put, this is seeing what you want to see and not what it actually is. This is what makes Grant conclude: being good at thinking does not make you good at rethinking. This means that expecting the information to confirm your beliefs will hinder your ability to rethink the issue and see it from another perspective. It can explain why some devout and ardent supporters of an idea resist and totally oppose changing their mind, like, for example, the issue of sexual education in our country. You can reasonably ask yourselves whether or not the core beliefs of a company should be changed. As known, a good leader should have a well-defined purpose of why. Sinek, for example, mentions the why of Apple, which hasn't changed. The purpose of the company is to change the status quo that will make people think and feel differently, and it has stayed the same. And this is one of the reasons Apple is still an extremely successful company. However, I'd like to mention the example Grant gives in his book. He describes Mike Lazardis's story, and namely how his reluctance to rethink the why of his company led to its eventual downfall. Mike Lazardis created BlackBerry, and it became an immediate success as people were able to manage their email on their telephones. His smartphone revolutionized the market, and people really enjoyed having easy access to their emails at any time. However, Lazardis rejected the idea of rethinking their core belief and did not listen to one of his top engineers in 1997 to add an internet browser. Lazardis still wanted the whole focus to be on the emails. In Grant's opinion, what contributed to Lazardis's failure is his inability to rethink. Being a highly intelligent man, he was governed by his deep-seated beliefs. Grant claims that no matter how much brain power you have, if you lack the motivation to change your mind, you'll miss many occasions to think again. Thus, leaving room for doubt can be more advantageous than being fully convinced in the correctness of one's beliefs. This doubt, no matter how small it is, can help people rethink and come with solutions that can help the company to prosper. But what to do if the leader has blind spots, if they are unaware of the biases they have? So this issue can be addressed in two ways. First, the primary purpose of a leader should be to create psychological safety at work. And second, to be aware of the different mindsets they can operate and develop the ability to shift to the necessary mindset while leading their company. The good news is that if you practice daring leadership, you have made psychological safety a priority. But what exactly does psychological safety mean? Adam Grant defines it as fostering a culture of respect, trust, openness in which people can raise concerns and suggestions without fear of reprisal. This will lead to the foundation of a culture of learning, where people stay always curious, are flexible, and can think again. Organizations where performance culture is highly valued are doomed to fail as compared to those where learning culture is fostered. Psychological safety opens the possibility to lean into vulnerability. When an organization has built psychological safety, their employees see mistakes as opportunities to learn. They also are willing to take risks and are not afraid to fail. They speak their minds at meetings. They openly share their struggles. They trust the teammates, and they definitely trust their leaders. They take risks by saying or doing something that other people might not like. Now, what shall a leader do to create that psychological safety at work? These are some suggestions. Number one, model the values you as a leader want to promote. Number two, identify and praise others who exemplify them. Number three, build a coalition of colleagues who are committed to making the change. Number four, model openness and inclusiveness. Number five, lean into vulnerability. Number six, create process accountability by evaluating how carefully different options are considered as people make decisions, and avoid outcome accountability. Number seven, demonstrate confident humility and curiosity as a leader. I'd like us to draw attention to confident humility. Humility does not sound like something one should foster. It has actually acquired a rather negative meaning. However, confidence and humility can go hand in hand when you can be confident in your ability to achieve a goal while maintaining the humility to question whether you have the right tools in the present. Confident humility implies acknowledging that you might not have the right solution at present, yet it enables you to rethink beliefs that are deep-seated and come with new insights to the existing problem. Adam Grant says that it takes confident humility to admit that we are a work in progress. It shows that we care more about improving ourselves than proving ourselves. However, he warns us against showing confident humility before having established our competence first. Now, let's see what mindset fosters confident humility. What do you think? According to Grant, people tend to slip into the mindset of three different professions: a preacher, a prosecutor, or a politician. One habitual way of thinking leaves little room for us to rethink something, thus pulling us down. This means that having one or all of these three mindsets might not help us get to the core of the problem and understand its complexity. So if somebody gets into the mindset of a preacher, the tendency is to see the job as a sacred cause, and like all sacred things, one is expected to believe without doubting the validity of that cause. People in preaching mode will deliver sermons to protect and promote ideals which are perceived by them as being in jeopardy. It is true, however, that preaching can be effective in debates with people who are receptive to the person's viewpoint or aren't invested in the issue. The prosecutor mindset is taken on when people think they recognize flaws in other people's thinking. The natural tendency is to provide arguments that will prove the latter wrong so that the former wins the case. This can be used when the aim is to get through to audiences who aren't determined to be in control. Finally, the politician mindset aims to earn people's approval, usually resorting to populistic elements. This can help when the purpose is to persuade the speaker's own political tribe. It results in an easy win over an audience who will easily approve what the leader is lobbying for. Grant warns us against slipping into these mindsets, as none of them shows confident humility. He says, the risk is that we become so wrapped up in preaching that we are right, prosecuting others who are wrong, and politicking for support that we do not rethink. And this is extremely dangerous in leadership. Once the beliefs are unshakable, no creativity can be fostered and no psychological safety can be built in that organization. Adam Grant describes a fourth mindset that can help the process of rethinking and foster confident humility. It is called the scientist mindset. Leaders are encouraged to always take on a scientist's goggles and scrutinize various viewpoints before adopting a certain course of action. Moreover, once the course is taken, people in a scientist mindset engage in a process of constantly questioning beliefs and assumptions. They test the alternative hypotheses. This can lead to the needed change within an organization. Jeff Bezos is quoted to have said, people who are right a lot listen a lot, and they change their minds a lot. If you don't change your mind frequently, you're going to be wrong a lot. Another benefit of the scientist mindset is that it helps avoid the pitfalls of binary bias, a basic human tendency to seek clarity and closure by simplifying a complex continuum into two categories. Unfortunately, people's tendency to look for simple explanations does not mean they thought the issue through. What the scientist mindset enables them to do is to complexify. This will spur rethinking cycles. Scientist mindset also contributes to making change happen. A leader in the scientist mindset could use the following practice to encourage employees to think about ways of executing change effectively. The practice is called motivational interviewing, and it consists of 4 techniques. Number 1, ask open-ended questions. 2, engage in reflective listening. 3, affirm the person's desire and ability to change. And finally, summarize. The purpose of such an interview is not to tell people what to think, but rather to help them question their deep-seated beliefs and make change happen. Adam Grant makes an interesting remark. When we try to convince people to think again, our first instinct is usually to start talking, yet the most effective way to help others to open their minds is often to listen. As seen, a scientist mindset can make the leader appear more charismatic. Yet this is not what charisma is all about. According to Olivia Fox-Caban, charisma is the result of specific non-verbal behaviors. People tend to believe that some are just lucky to be born charismatic. However, research proved them wrong. Charisma is a skill that can be developed and perfected. It boils down to 3 crucial aspects dealing with the ability of showing power, presence, and warmth in everything a person does. The main trait of charismatic people is that they make others feel good about themselves. Just like we mentioned in the previous lesson, leaders should know the employees, should make know that the employees know that they are there to serve the employees and not the other way around. So this is what a charismatic leader does with ease and grace. Olivia Fox-Caban describes the charismatic behavior of Benjamin Disraeli, who was said to have impressed the lady, not by showing how intelligent he was, but how intelligent she was. This is what charisma is all about, to make your receiver feel good and valued. This can definitely help create the necessary psychological safety at work, and it can have difficult conversations without hurting the other's feelings. With practice, one can boost their charisma level. However, being charismatic is not about faking being present, displaying warmth and power. No matter how hard one tries to fake it, the body language will betray them. Thus, being charismatic implies internalizing the beliefs and live by those values. We will refer to some ways of enhancing charisma in our last unit. Meanwhile, I'd like to mention 3 quick steps that will immediately boost your charisma in conversation. 1. Lower the intonation of your voice at the end of your sentences. 2. Reduce how quickly and how often you nod. 3. Pause for 2 full seconds before you speak. Now it's high time for the lesson's takeaways. Being mentally fit at present means one can learn and rethink. Leaders and employees should keep an open mind and always question their beliefs. By spurring rethinking cycles, they avoid the pitfalls caused by confirmation bias, desirability bias, and binary bias. There are 4 mindsets people can slip into: preacher mindset, prosecutor mindset, politician mindset, and scientist mindset. The best mindset for a leader is the scientist mindset. In this way, a leader stays always open and ready to consider other perspectives of an issue. It helps them be flexible and promote learning, culture, and psychological safety at work. A leader should look for ways of creating psychological safety at work, which will boost creativity and create a feeling of belonging among the employees. A leader should develop process accountability in their employees. A charismatic leader displays 3 key aspects: presence, warmth, and power. A charismatic leader makes the employees feel valued. So good leaders are made, not born, and you can definitely become one.